Hey guys, it's Alyssa from AlyssaNalani.com. Welcome back to my channel. So as you can see from the title of the video, today I'm going to be talking about self-care. Now, in one of my last videos, I talked about the 6 characteristics of a classy lady. And one of those characteristics that I shared about was that a classy lady takes care of her mind and body. Now, I consider that to be self-care. Now, the internet is riddled with thousands and thousands of articles and blog posts and pins on Pinterest and posts on Instagram about self-care. And a lot of what we find, not all, but a lot of what we find has to do with simply just scheduling some me time and doing some kind of activity for yourself. And I don't think there's anything inherently wrong with that as long as we're not being selfish with our time. However, when I consider self-care, I like to think of it in a more holistic approach. So in today's video, I'm going to be sharing 5 areas of self-care that you should focus on. This video is based on a blog post that I wrote last year, and if you'd like to read it for yourself, you can check out the link in the description box. First area of self-care that I believe we should focus on is spiritual self-care. Now, as a Christian, I believe that a good, healthy, vibrant relationship with Jesus is the glue that keeps all the stuff of life together and gives us purpose and passion and a good, healthy rhythm. I think that you can work on your routines and your habits and making sure that all the little pieces of your life are coordinated together and synchronized and still not achieve true peace and joy. At the center of it all, Jesus has to be there. And I'm not speaking of a place of arrival because this is something that I struggle with on a daily basis. Just like any relationship, a relationship with Christ takes work. We have to be intentional about choosing Him every day. We have to be intentional about setting aside time to engage in activities that will boost and keep our spiritual growth active and healthy. On top of just the challenge of maintaining a good relationship, when the devil sees that you're trying, he is going to attack you where it hurts. He is going to push your buttons and touch you at your weakest and try to ensure that you don't succeed. The good news, of course, is that God is so much bigger and stronger and more powerful than the devil. And so when we ask Him for help, He is so willing to help us on our spiritual journey. So even when life gets tough and it gets busy and you feel like you're just in the trenches dealing with all the minutia of life, know that Jesus is right by your side, and He is there for comfort, for strength, for power, and wants to work with you to make good, positive change in your life. Number 2 on my list of areas of self-care is physical self-care. So this can seem pretty basic and self-explanatory, but I do believe that it's good to have physical self-care on our list because especially as women, I think that we tend to get so caught up in making sure that everybody else is taken care of and making sure that all the plates keep spinning, and we are at risk of neglecting ourselves. So we do need to make sure that we are making good choices, getting proper rest, staying hydrated, exercising as often as we can, and making good eating choices just as a start. This is definitely an area that I need to work really hard at. And I'll tell you right now that as we are closing up this year, I am trying to be better about those healthy habits and routines. Number 3 on our list is mental and emotional self-care. When the comment is made that women are emotional creatures, that tends to sometimes rub me the wrong way, depending on who is saying it and the context that they are making that comment in. And the reason why is because I believe that God created men and women as emotional beings. The key here is that men and women respond to and handle emotions differently, which frankly I think is a beautiful thing. However, it can make things a little challenging when it comes to interacting with one another. So when it comes to a conversation about self-care and what that means for us emotionally, I think that our mental health and our emotional well-being can get out of whack when we don't take the time or simply don't have the space or the time to take care of our emotional and mental well-being. And I think this goes both for men and women, but we are talking about self-care for classy ladies. So I think that there is potentially so much that demands our mental capabilities and our time. And it doesn't matter what stage of life you're in, whether you are a student, a mother, working a really challenging career, working part-time or full-time, taking care of family members, volunteering in ministry, whatever it is, or maybe it's a combination of several of those things at the same time. I think that there's so much demand on our minds as well as our bodies, and we can get drained. And if we don't create margin, white space, calm, peace, a time to stop and rest and recharge, that is taxing on our emotions and our mental health. So I believe that this is a really important area of self-care. And even in seasons where we can't control all of what's going on and what could possibly harm our emotional health or our mental health, I think that we do have to be intentional about the things that we can control and create as much space as we can, even during difficult and challenging situations. Because to the extent that we give ourselves as much space as we can and remain in control of what we can control, that is how well we are going to be able to handle and respond all the things that are going on around us. Number 4 on the list is environmental self-care. Now, I am not a dirty person, but I do tend to be cluttered. And there is something about a cluttered environment that creates noise and chaos mentally. I mean, think about, have you ever gone to somebody's house and everything's put away and everything is just calm and peaceful and clean? And then you get home and there's stuff everywhere, and there's the junk over in the corner that you need to organize, and the laundry that needs to be put away, and all the things just happening all at once, and you think, oh my goodness, all I want to do is crawl into bed and not deal with it. Now, I know that depending on what season you're in, dealing with clutter and mess can be a bit of a challenge. However, I will say that part of self-care is taking care of your environment. Because if you can create peace and calm in your surroundings, it will spill over into other areas of your life. It does take intention, it does take time, it does take practice, but find just simple ways here and there that you can kind of start the ball rolling if it is a challenge for you, and your habits will start developing, and later down the line, you will thank yourself later. And number 5, last but not least, is social self-care. Now, I'm the kind of person who loves interacting with people and hanging out with them, but it does tend to drain me, and I do crave my alone time. There are other people for whom it's the exact opposite. Alone time drains them, and hanging out with people and interaction with other people energizes them. Part of social self-care is understanding kind of where you fall into that and making decisions and choices accordingly. It helps you maintain boundaries so that you know when to accept or decline an invitation, when you should initiate some interaction, and the amount of time that you spend with certain kinds of people. Now, when I say certain types of people, this is what I mean by that. There are people in our lives that tend to drain us just because of their personality or the conversations that you tend to have or the types of activities that you engage in. On the flip side, there are people that just pour into us and make us feel uplifted and filled and like a breath of fresh air and like we've just, had a good pep talk and you're ready to go and conquer all the things. So understanding those kinds of relationships will help you make choices as to how much time and when to spend with these kinds of people. All right, so that was my 5 areas of self-care that you need to focus on. In my original blog post, which is linked below, I do write a little bit more about each area and give a list of different things that you can start incorporating into your everyday life for each area. So if you are interested in that and you want some ideas just to kind of jumpstart you in your self-care, then I invite you to check out that blog post. Now, I'm personally calling this month Self-Care September because in my pursuit of prioritizing my goals and being intentional about my choices in order to finish this year off on a good foot and on a good note, I decided to really tackle these areas and I have picked one thing to focus on in each of these areas. And last week, I did a walkthrough of my setup of my self-care personal development planner, which I'm calling my Classy Lady Planner. And this is the place where I am working some of that stuff out. So each of the areas of self-care, like I said, I've chosen something to work on, and I'm using this book to kind of help me stay on track and help me stay focused and gather ideas and all of those different kinds of things. It's kind of like me taking what I find on Pinterest and like putting it in paper form so I can make it more actionable. Because at least for me, I'm a great curator of things on Pinterest, and they sit on my boards and yeah, nothing happens. So I wanted to create a space so that I could really start working on the things that I say that I want to work on, but never actually make the time to do. So if you have any questions, please let me know. I did my 6 characteristics of a classy lady in one of my last videos, and then the week before I did my walkthrough of that notebook / planner setup that I've got. So if you have any questions about the planner or how I'm using it, or any comments at all, you know where to leave them. As always, thanks so much for watching. I hope you guys are having a great day, and I will talk to you in the next video. Bye-bye.